Today's episode is brought to you by Destiny's Accessories, located inside of A.V. Lopez at 3831 Boca Chica Boulevard in Brownsville. Open Monday through Friday, 10 to 6, Saturday and Sunday, 10 to 4. Destiny Accessories has all the phone and tablet accessories you need, including chargers, screen protectors, wallets, clips, holsters, pop sockets, cases, and much more. Welcome to Paranormal 956. My name is David. I am here with Bianca.
Hi, guys.
What are we talking about today, Bianca?
So we are staying in Brownsville for sure.
Mm-hmm.
You said something about raids?
The Brownsville Raids. Yes.
Not raids.
No.
Raids.
No, we don't. We're not there yet.
Okay.
I don't know what the Brownsville Rides are going to be.
But we'll figure it out.
We're going to work that out and we're going to make that episode happen. Because that sounds wonderful.
Yeah.
All right. So the Brownsville Raids, actually probably the most historically significant event, maybe. Mm-hmm. At least when it comes to like civil rights issues, things like that happened in Brownsville.
Okay.
So one of the things is the school that we went to, Texas Southmost College in Brownsville, has a fort. Our college was a famous military fort, Fort Brown. A fort that was involved in the Civil War and World War II and many, many wars. And one of the things that they were very famous for, or are famous for now, is they were home of the 25th Infantry. 25th Infantry.
Okay.
A group of men called the Buffalo Soldiers. Now, the Buffalo Soldiers were...
Never heard of them.
A group of black... The whole troop was black men.
Okay.
The captains and everybody on the top were white, obviously, but...
The fighters.
The fighters, right, were black. And this was when slavery was barely over.
But they still own them, in a way.
I guess they were given the shitty jobs.
Yeah.
Right? So it wasn't the best.
They were adapting, basically.
Right.
Yeah, okay.
And so this was a way out, kind of the way it is.
It takes time.
Yeah. And I don't know how your family is, but I know my family, like it was a way for my family being poor to see the world and build a future and get a good job and get an education. Like from my grandparents on, they were all military. All of them.
Like it was a gateway ticket to...
Yeah. So like veterans and
so that's where you started to make something out of yourself.
Right. Yeah, because if you're poor, right, and you
even till this day, I think.
Yes, and in the Valley, we have way more people going into the military than the rest of the country.
True.
Because of that, a lot of both men and women now, because women weren't allowed in the military during this time of the story too, right?
True.
But both men and women look at the military as a way to kind of get a head start.
Yeah.
Let's say, right? And so they use the GI Bill, et cetera, et cetera. And so this was when black people, men, were barely allowed to join the military. It was still segregated. And at this time, in 1906 that we're talking about, they were still fighting like...
Is this before you were born?
It was a little bit before.
Okay.
Just like 70 years before.
You see?
Barely.
Barely.
I almost could still smell the musket smell. And so what happened during the Brownsville Raids, kind of the very first Karen that I can find in history.
No.
Yes. This white lady said that she was assaulted by one of the black soldiers. So another thing that's important to kind of know about this time period in Brownsville, it was majority white people.
Okay.
So like the way that it is now is like mostly like 90%.
There were no cuz yet and stuff.
No. Nobody had the Edgar haircut.
Damn, what the
right?
fuck?
It was all whites, right? And very few browns. And then this group of white
Blacks.
soldiers come, right? And they were not welcome at all, right? So you also have to understand during this time, they're no longer slaves, but
they're working for someone.
well, there was the Jim Crow laws and all of this stuff. And so they were still really
Discriminated.
against, right? I was trying to think of the word. You're right. And so,
Okay.
so yeah, they were very discriminated against. And we were in the South, right? So there was slaves in Brownsville
Right.
not long before these
True.
men showed up.
Yeah.
So this woman talks about how she was assaulted by a black man, a black soldier.
Okay.
And so the white head of the soldier, like the general or whatever it was, right, the captain,
Okay.
says, you know what, everybody, and the mayor got together and they were like,
They did like a whole case.
yeah. Like, so the mayor and the captain are like, you know what, all your soldiers, you got to go to bed by 10, right?
Okay.
Everybody's got to go to bed by 10. We're not going to deal with any of this shit.
Okay.
And so you know where TSC is, right? Texas Southmost College. You know where it is, right?
I know where it is.
And then you know how the buildings are downtown, right?
Yeah.
So that it's exactly the same as it was back then, except the roads were dirt roads, obviously, right?
Oh shit. Yeah.
And the churches was in a different place, I think,
Okay.
right? And so imagine, you know where the Stillman House is? It's one of those museums downtown.
I think yes.
It's very close to the bus station.
Yeah.
Okay, so you can imagine how it's facing, right?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Imagine in court, right? Because the Texas Rangers took this to court.
Yeah.
And they said that somebody from the TSC area, which was Fort Brown at the time, shot a gun into town in the direction of the Stillman House, and it went through the front door and into the house.
What the fuck?
Now, considering the direction that those houses are facing, that bullet would have to go like several blocks straight and then take like a right-hand turn, right?
Yes.
And so that's what they said in court, that the black soldiers were at TSC, Fort Brown, and were shooting into the town, and these bullets are going into the fronts of the houses on the street.
Sure.
Right?
What?
So when this went to court in Texas, in Cameron County, people like us who live here,
Yeah.
they're like, yeah, that's not what happened, right? And they were not charged, right? Sounds like a good story. Well, word gets out to the president of the United States at the time, Theodore Roosevelt. We need to find out who did this. And so people in Brownsville were like, they didn't do it. Like it was somebody else, right?
Like,
there's also this other kind of little incident that happens where a bartender and I think it's a police officer or sheriff, one of them ends up dead and one of them, they shoot off his whole arm. Like he gets shot close range, right? And his arm's completely blown off. They will blame the black soldiers for that too, right?
what the fuck? So they were like just pick and choosing, like
everything's their fault.
Yeah,
everything's their fault, right?
Like it started raining, it was their fault.
It's their fault.
Yeah.
So the president of the United States hears about this and he says, court-martial all of them, because nobody's saying who it is. Nobody's admitting to this, and they're not telling on each other.
But everybody is talking about the blacks,
right? And so all of those black soldiers, get rid of all of them, right?
The fuck?
Court-martialed all of them. Ended up being 167 men. That's what most history just tells you, that part.
Okay.
It will also tell you that only one was alive when they kind of rectified this and gave them their records back. Because, like having a dishonorable discharge is kind of like having a felony on your record.
Right.
Like it's going to be hard to get a job. It's going to be hard to do a lot of stuff, right? You're not getting your benefits. You can't go to the VA. You can't do a lot of stuff,
true.
right? And so only one of them was alive in 1972 when they fixed this. What they don't tell you is that when they court-martialed all of these men, some of them had been in the military for over 20 years.
What the fuck?
out of that 167 men, 6 of them had Medal of Honors already.
And they took them back.
And they just kicked them out like they were all criminals, right? In addition to that, you know where, well, we've talked about this in our other episode about the hospital where Gorgas Hall is.
Yeah.
That used to be a hospital. There were soldiers that were dying in that hospital from wounds and sicknesses in bed that they couldn't get out of that were court-martialed as well.
Fuck.
That there's no way that they could have known about this. There's no way that they could have done it. There's no way they were guilty of anything.
But they got the blame for it.
Kicked them out of the military as if they were the same people that had shot this cop and this bartender.
And allegedly shot the...
Right. And so what it looks like happened, first of all, it's kind of accepted that this white lady that said she was assaulted just made it all up. It's also looking back at this, that the bartender and the sheriff were fighting with each other and killed each other.
Yeah.
Right. And so all of this happened. So usually that's where the story ends.
But
we know better.
Yeah.
Right.
We know drama.
We know that we're going to dig a little bit.
Yes.
And we're going to go around town and we're going to find other stories that people may not realize are related. Oh, but they're related. And there's stuff that we're going to get into that we personally know about. What? So, right on the river where the TSC daycare is.
Yes.
And next door where that Catholic, I don't know if it's a diocese or what that is.
It has a big cross and all that stuff. It's a Catholic.
There's a Catholic important.
It's not a church.
It's not a church. It's like a business office or something like that.
Yeah. I don't know. It's weird, but it's not a church, but it has the cross right in front.
So we're going to hint at something right now about maybe that those places maybe be haunted a little bit. And we may know information about
We do know inside information about those places.
That they're haunted? Yes.
Should I say a little teaser?
Go ahead.
My mom used to work at the daycare. She used to clean it at night. Her schedule was like around, we would drop her off like at around 11 and she would come out like at 2 or 3 in the morning or so. Mm-hmm. And she didn't last very long. And she always said it wasn't because of the hours. The hours were good. Right. Good pay.
Right.
It's a daycare that's messed up.
Yeah. And not the employees or anything like that. Not the people that she worked with.
No.
Something else. Something. Right?
And the daycare itself.
Right.
Because she only cleaned the daycare. She didn't clean the other church thingy.
Right.
Office or whatever.
And so the way that this is connected to what you just said is that land used to be a cemetery.
Oh, no.
For these soldiers.
What?
Yeah. And so just to tell you how racist the town was at the time, these men that were buried there, Brownsville didn't want anything to do with them. So Brownsville National Cemetery was moved and is now in Louisiana.
Wait, so they took the bodies out and took them all the way over there?
They took the bodies out and they reburied them. So Brownsville National Cemetery was moved from Brownsville, where the daycare is and where the Catholic building is, was moved to Louisiana.
No fucking way.
So when you think about moving a cemetery, what do you think would be like the heaviest part of all of that?
Building a daycare on top of it?
Well, no. I guess let me just tell you what I'm thinking. So,
like back in the day,
right? Okay. So this is what they did.
They
put all the coffins on a train and sent them over there.
Ew.
But what they didn't do,
What?
they didn't take the tombstones. So when you go downtown,
No.
do you know where Market Square is, right?
Yeah, the bus where it used to be.
Right, where the bus station used to be. And you know that real pretty fountain?
Yeah.
Guess what that's made out of?
Rocks.
Have you ever seen a veteran's tombstone?
Oh, shut the fuck up.
They're those white, real pretty white marble.
Jesus fucking Christ. Don't.
Guess what they made that fountain out of?
Out of those tombstones?
The tombstones.
You're lying.
They're backwards.
What?
Yep.
Why the fuck would they? From all other things they can fucking do, they can't even build a fucking wall.
Yeah.
At least the wall would be respected, but a fountain?
Yeah, so it's not only that, but there's buildings in town that are also use those bricks. So check this out. So I have my computer open. I'm going to put this picture on our Facebook. But look at that fountain. And now that you know what I just told you, can you see where those tombstones are?
Yeah. I don't want to see it. I'm tired.
So
it's fucking... Oh, shit. Why? Well, who got the tombstone? Like, oh, you know what? Let's build a fountain, guys. You know what?
Yeah.
Let's do it here.
I don't know. It's pretty messed up. It's pretty messed up.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
Imagine having your loved ones like tombstone and they just like, you know what? Like, let's just take it.
There's so many messed up parts. Imagine that your relative gave their life for our country.
And they died like all the way down here or whatever.
And then the citizens of the town were like, we don't want that person buried in our town because of the color of their skin.
This is what I mean. Like, why the fuck would you care? It's in the fucking edge
of town or of the river. It's
of the
right
river.
On the river. Yeah.
Like, why the fuck does it bug you?
That's what happened. It's pretty messed up. So that's our episode for today. It's not a proud moment in Brownsville, but I do think that that's an important kind of historical story to tell.
It is, because I mean, we get a lot of like creepy stories from UTV,
right?
TSE.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Is that
I think we should talk like to the, what's it called? To the Border Patrol workers there at the Puente. I'm pretty sure they see some scary stuff like when it's alone.
I actually,
I'm pretty sure like the office like right there where you cross the Puente, like before getting to the Banderas. I'm pretty sure they've seen some stuff.
Yeah, you're probably right. I'm sure we can look into that. Maybe they're fans. Why wouldn't they be?
Why wouldn't they? Exactly.
Yeah, the reason I'm glad we covered this finally, it feels like we got a long ways into the season without...
Skipping Brownsville.
Yeah. But a lot of the stories that we're going to go into are going to kind of be traced back to here, including your mom's story.
Yeah.
They kind of come back to here.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So this is a fundamental story for later.
Yeah, it gets better, guys. It gets better. We're building up to it.
Yeah, we appreciate you listening. Look for us on Facebook and wherever you get your podcasts. Yeah. We will see you next time when we talk about...
Oh, so not many people know about this, but Gypsy Rose, the famous Gypsy Rose, one and only Gypsy Rose, will be released soon.
Yeah.
From jail, prison.
Yeah.
Whatever you want to call it.
I guess.
It is prison. So we'll talk about that a little bit.
Yep. Thanks for listening.
Bye.